Warning, there will be spoilers for the first 3 God of War games, so you have been warned. Let's check it out. God of War 3 is one of the most indulgent and imposing games I have ever laid eyes on, and it deserves like 6 M ratings. Seriously, keep the little ones away from this one, guys, cause gets real. I've never played a God of War game, and this one came with the PlayStation subscription, so I thought I'd give it a fair go. And I've got to say, it's a blockbuster experience. In fact, if I had to describe it with words, it's like if the Matrix sequels and the movie 300 had a baby that was a game, it would be this. The way they incorporated motion capture, wide shots, great music, really make this feel more like a epic, cheesy movie with plenty of testosterone,
You live?
gore, and boobs.
The death of Olympus means the death of us all.
Then prepare for your death, Poseidon. Pandora's box.
Easily one of the most compelling things about this game is its story and how it interweaves itself with Greek mythology. The opening sequence starts all the way in the underworld and slowly pans itself to the heights of Mount Olympus, where some of the Greek pantheon have gathered. Zeus, Poseidon, Hermes, Hades, and even the sun god Helios. Each one is ready to fight you, Kratos, Ghost of Sparta, Scourge of the Gods.
Zeus! Your son has returned. I bring the destruction of Olympus!
Santa Monica Studios caught lightning in a bottle with this character. Kratos' archetypal design and Christopher Judge's lively performance make him one of the best video game characters.
My vengeance ends now.
And easily one of PlayStation's best exclusive IPs. Let's take a quick look at Kratos' past so we can explain why he has declared war on the gods. Kratos was once a warrior from Sparta, who made a deal with Ares so that he would save his life.
Ares! Destroy my enemies, and my life is yours.
And in turn, Kratos would serve the god of war.
The blades of chaos, forged in the foulest depths of Hades. Once attached, the chains remained so, chained and seared to the flesh, a part of the bearer's body, a permanent reminder of Kratos' pledge.
But Ares would trick Kratos into killing his own family to completely get rid of his humanity. Brutal.
His skin white with the ash of his dead family. The ghost of Sparta had been born.
Kratos seeks revenge on Ares and finds Pandora's box so he can gain the power to kill a god and extract his revenge. But doing so leaves a power vacuum in Olympus, and there needs to be a new God of War. So they choose Kratos. And in a nutshell, that is God of War 1. And God of War 2 is super convoluted, so let's get to it. Kratos' time as a god would not last long. When Kratos opened Pandora's box, there was more released from it than just the power to kill a god, so keep that in mind. The king of the gods, Zeus, sees Kratos as an unworthy Olympian, so he tricks Kratos in giving up his immortality, right before killing him.
This path is of your choosing.
A choice from the gods is as useless as the gods themselves.
In the underworld, Kratos meets the Titans, the beings that ruled creation before the gods.
I am the Titan Gaia, ever-present Mother of Earth. I have watched you become a powerful warrior, and I have been with you through all the events of your life, But I can no longer simply watch. We will help you defeat Zeus.
Gaia and the rest of the Titans wish to overthrow the Olympians, so they make a deal to march on Mount Olympus with the help of some time travel. Athena also tells Kratos that he is the son of Zeus, and that Pandora's box unleashed fear that crept into the god's psyche, which made Zeus obsess about the ongoing cycle of patricides in the Olympians' history.
A fear that drove Zeus to kill you. His own son.
His son?
You are compelled to do the same.
Zeus, your son has returned! I bring the destruction of Olympus!
And God of War 3 picks up right where it left off, and wastes no time of throwing you into the action. Kratos and Gaia battle Poseidon's forces just so we can get smitten down by Zeus. Gaia refuses to save Kratos and he falls into the underworld again. Would it even be God of War if you weren't stranded in hell? If you're a Greek mythology fan, then this game brings so much of that culture to life in a very over-the-top and visceral way. In his journey of vengeance, Kratos fights monsters, gods, titans, and traverses locales like Tartarus, the Palace of Poseidon, Hera's Gardens, and many other locations in Greek mythology. At the pinnacle of his crusade, Kratos is reminded that there is hope for him, despite his past, and finds the strength to break the shackles of Olympus by defeating Zeus once and for all. The ending is a bit weird and requires a lot of exposition from Athena, but it does feel like a fitting end for this bloody path that Kratos has been enduring for so long. With a title called God of War, do I really have to tell you that 90% of this game is combat? Kratos is a straight up war machine, realized by the hack and slash style of gameplay. Kratos gets a couple different weapons to use in his journey, but they all feel like an evolution of his base weapon, his iconic chain blades, or the Blades of Exile. Slinging these lethal ranged weapons makes you feel like an unrelenting warrior, and it's just straight up a lot of fun. The next weapon Kratos gets are the Claws of Hades, very similar to the Blades of Exile, except these can summon spirits in battle.
Hades, Kratos. With them, summon cursed souls to attack your enemies.
With the defeat of Hercules, Kratos gets the Nemean Cestus, these giant gauntlets that do concessive damage against strong foes and are great for crowd control. The last weapon Kratos wields is the Nemesis Whip, which can be used to get high combos as well as ranged lightning attacks. Each weapon is fairly fun to use and have their own combos for you to discover. However, I kept finding myself using the gauntlets because they would break most enemies' guard and leave an opening. But perhaps the strongest weapon in your arsenal is the Blade of Olympus. After you filled your special gauge up, you can unleash this powerful weapon to take down any foe. I'm pretty sure Kratos doesn't take any damage while this is being used either, so I would recommend using it strategically. When you're not slicing and dicing foes, combat will shift to quick time events, and they're executed beautifully. Cinematic moments that give you a rest between button mashing for, well, more button mashing, but it's more precise. The game is pretty forgiving with checkpoints, so if you die in combat or fail at a quick time event, you don't have to completely start over again, which keeps the pace moving forward. Whether you're racing in the streets of Greece or stuck in the belly of a Titan, God of War 3 will keep you guessing on where your next destination will be. But no matter where you go, there will always be a fixed camera angle, so the gamer only sees what the developers want you to see. This makes your journey a little bit more streamlined, but a part of me really wishes that we could have seen this mythological Greece in its entirety. The camera pans out a couple of times so you can get a good view, but most of the time the game has Kratos traveling through narrow corridors or labyrinths. Most labyrinths acts as a dungeon with puzzles to solve, but you're never really there for too long. Normally there's one game mechanic presented to the player within the dungeon that has a 2 to 3 step process to complete in order to move on. I'd say that my favorite one was in Hera's Gardens. There's a really cool puzzle that plays around with perception and will allow Kratos to traverse these staircases only when the puzzle's been activated. In order to get through these tribulations, Kratos has a few side items at his disposal. the wings of Icarus, which allow Kratos to glide over short distances, or use it for flight to dodge falling debris while you ascend through a chasm, which only happens a few times throughout the whole game, like 2 times, maybe. The bow of Apollo can be used as a ranged weapon, but it can also be used to progress in a level by burning obstructions in your path, or aggro flying harpies, so you can use them to fly over bigger gaps. The head of Helios can light your way through caves, stun enemies, and reveal several secrets throughout the game. The boots of Hermes are easily the most underutilized item, and the game mechanics on it feel a little clunky. Since the game has a fixed camera angle, it can be hard to tell Kratos which direction you want to go. Yeah, there's a lot of fine tuning that needs to be done to this item. It honestly feels like it's in here just so that Kratos will have a trophy for beating Hermes. One thing I have to praise the game on is how reactive the world is to your progress. Every time Kratos defeats a god, the world around is changed. When you defeat Poseidon, it causes a massive flood. When Helios is killed, the sun disappears. Hera's death causes plants to die, etc. This makes the player's actions feel significant, as our very decisions have an impact on the world. Now, you don't really have a real choice in all of this. This is again a very linear game, but it's nice to see that the level design is changing along with you. The boss fights in God of War 3 can range from mediocre to epic, from fighting giant scorpions, titans, and the Olympians. The presentation is always spot on. The fight with the Titan Kronos is a well-earned spectacle on how well they balance out fighting on the giant Titan himself and using the Titan as a platform to fight smaller enemies. I mean, the transition is smooth, but there were several instances where I had no idea how to dodge or parry attacks. Toward the end of the game when you're battling the giant scorpion, I would try to go under his legs to avoid his tail attack, but it would still hit me. Like, how does that even work? Hitboxes in this title are questionable, but since checkpoints are fairly reasonable, it never made me think that this game was being unfair. I think a large part of this is just that fixed camera angle. A lot of times it's difficult to see if you are in the line of fire or not. Each boss fight normally ends with a quick time event, to bring a theatrical finale to your foe. God of War 3 is a high-budgeted movie disguised as a game, brought to life by Santa Monica Studios. I can totally see why this game got so much hype back in the day. Even before they remastered it, this game still looked good all the way back in 2010. But I can still see how it's aged in some ways. Just with the linear gameplay and some cool concepts that just couldn't be realized yet. And personally, the over-the-top gore really isn't my thing. It's okay if it serves the story or the theme, but in this game, it is really in your face. I actually think that the game is best when it actually slows down and really focuses on the characters. Like the sequence where Kratos goes through a psychedelic experience when searching for hope inside of his soul.
No, Father, no!
Zeus uses fear to keep you in the dark.
Confront your demons and lay them to rest.
Don't listen to him, Kratos. Once in your prophetic life, don't fail.
As the fear in the gods rose, mine was replaced by hope. Hope is what makes us strong. It is why we are here. It is what we fight with when all else is lost.
Overall, I really did enjoy this title. I'm not sure if I'm going to go back and play it. I'm more curious to see where they've brought this franchise with modern gaming mechanics and concepts. You know, something a little bit more open world where the player's decisions actually matter and you're not just told where to go. But guys, that's it for this video. So until next time, y'all be good. Peace.